Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday. I am with our very special guest, Camille Kinzler, and I'm just going to quickly check inside the group to make sure we are live. So hang tight. And yes, we are. Hey, we did it, Camille. We're here. Yay.
We are aligned.
We are so perfectly aligned, you and I. And so I want to thank you for accepting my invitation to come on our Facebook Live group show. So thank you for being here. We're going to have such a great talk about your mission, your purpose, and how you help others gain or regain alignment. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
So I have to say thank you so much for inviting me, because two of my favorite topics are alignment and everything boozy. So like both of these topics together, I'm just super excited about. So thank you.
I love that. Well, fantastic. Well, you know, when we met, and I'll share with everyone how we met, we are part of a group here in Austin called Society of We, which is women entrepreneurs. And this is a group of, or I should say, a sisterhood of women who are all doing what they're meant to do. They're fulfilling their life's purpose. They're fulfilling their life's calling, and essentially they're helping others gain alignment in one way or another. And so when I heard about your mission and what you do for your clients, I was so excited, and I knew I had to have you on our live show. So I'm so happy you're here.
Awesome. Well, my name is Camille Kinzler, for those of you who don't know me, and I am a physician assistant who practices root cause medicine. I've been in the wellness field really all of my life. My dad was a pediatrician in Austin, Texas for 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah, Central Austin girl all the way.
Cool.
And then for the past 20 years, I have been independently part of the health and wellness scene, and then the last 10 as a physician assistant. Yeah, so
Incredible.
in this world of our culture of health and wellness, and I feel like really having the discussion around alcohol is our last frontier. It's what we're really not talking about, and what we really should be talking about to achieve ultimate health and wellness. I personally was there. I would go on 30-day cleanses where I wouldn't drink alcohol, any gluten, dairy, or sugar, and then I would celebrate with pizza and wine at the very end of it. I would do, trainings for triathlons and 5Ks and doing all of these things, but I would never just decide I was going to choose to give up alcohol. It was the one thing that was a constant in my life. So about a year and some change ago, I decided that was going to be the thing that I was going to remove, and I was going to do it for 90 days. 6 weeks into it, my eyes flew open. The neurotransmitters, the neural network that had been laid before was breaking apart. I was creating new ones, and I really just had clarity that I had never had before. And so now I'm 14 months without alcohol, and planning on continuing in that direction.
Oh my gosh, how bold and how brave.
Yeah. Thank you.
So before we get started, if you're watching, say hello, give us a thumbs up, a heart if you like. If you're watching the replay, can you please also share some love? Comment below, say hello. I'm on with Camille Kinzler. She just gave us a beautiful introduction into her journey of being alcohol free, free from alcohol and all the things that comes with drinking. And so before we get into how you help others get into alignment, can you share with us, Camille, what alignment means to you?
Yeah.
Which is different for everyone, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because the word align or alignment wasn't even in my vocabulary a year and a half ago. Yeah. It just wasn't even in my sphere. And so so beautiful that you even you have a whole Facebook page that's on alignment. It is so important in life. So I think of alignment in two different ways. So one is the more holistic view of it, the whole body view, where you have, if you have the 4 quadrants, you have emotions and your mental aspect, your spiritual aspect, and your body. And if all of those things are nice and full and happy, then the y-axis is directly in the middle, right? So that's like the ultimate goal, right? Yeah. That's like, I've achieved enlightenment, everything is grand. But for me, that's overwhelming to think of it in that way. Yeah. So I like to think of alignment more of a way of feeling and being daily. Mm-hmm. So it's something that I now use in my vocabulary 100 times a day.
Yeah.
And the way that I know that I am aligned is when things are flowing really naturally, and an idea will pop in my brain, and I'll be able to write it down with ease, or contact somebody with ease, or connect with a client or a patient with ease. I can be more playful with my children and more present. And so alignment to me is more of a feeling of calmness, presence, and joy.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, I mean, it beautifully said, and I love how you shared the quadrants, the 4 quadrants, and how they're all in balance. But life happens, challenges happen, and so the goal is on a daily basis, what do we do to find that alignment as we go? So it's not you get into alignment once and it's forevermore. This is something that you have to continuously discipline yourself in achieving. You have to want to be in alignment. You want to feel that love, that joy, and to be able to stay in alignment when stuff happens. So can you share with us maybe some personal practices or strategies that you incorporate to stay in alignment when stuff goes awry during your workday or your life?
Yeah. So I think that's interesting that you said that. We absolutely don't get in alignment and then just stay in alignment. We're sort of in and out of alignment throughout the day. And first we have to recognize what being in alignment feels like. So if that is for you feeling, at ease or joyful or peaceful, recognizing that feeling, being grateful when it's present, right? Because then you have to know that that's my alignment. And then the second piece is realizing when you're out of alignment, right? And you have to have that contrast to know where you want to get into to your ultimate goal for that, your intention for that day. And so how I like to look at it is when I am in alignment, I don't typically recognize it because I'm flowing and I'm going. And then when I pop out of alignment, then I can say, oh, okay, so now what's going on in my surroundings, right? Are the kids fighting? Is the house a mess? Am I having a difficult patient? What is going on? And then I can pop out of it. So I leave that environment if it's just in my mind or walking away into a different office or, taking a step outside when the kids are maybe arguing before I go in. So taking a moment and then recognizing, why am I out of alignment and seeing if I can course correct. Sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
Yeah, totally. And sometimes,
and that's okay.
Right. But then knowing that you can, that happens and that you can pop back into alignment, then you'll get back into alignment. Maybe it's going to be in an hour. Maybe it will be in a day. Or sometimes I've had like 4 or 5 days where I'm just like, I'm not feeling that flow again. But I think that the most important thing is once you start recognizing how it feels to be in alignment, then you'll notice that you're doing it more frequently. So it's the frequency that you're aligned throughout the day versus it being a whole day where you're feeling happy and joyful, right?
Right.
Like, I had 20 times today where I was, really flowing and felt aligned.
Yeah. You said something really important that I love to talk a little bit more about, the contrast, and that you need to be able to appreciate the contrast. And you may not in the moment because it could be something very painful, it could be something very uncomfortable. And it's hard for you to get out of that, and it's hard for you to see or I should say, better said, appreciate what the contrast has done. It has shifted your perspective on what you do want and what you absolutely do not want. And so that's like when you said course correct, I mean, that you use the contrast, you leverage it and you capitalize on it, and then you move forward with a new perspective on whatever challenge you were facing. So it's all about trying to appreciate it, perhaps not in the moment, but giving yourself some time, right, to heal, and some time to process those emotions, but then making sure you go back, revisit that, and then find some appreciation about it, right? So I love that you said that you mentioned contrast.
Yeah, and then that we're using the word emotion. So we all have emotions, and what I was doing with alcohol is I was, I drank alcohol when I was in college, and then outside of college when I was in my 20s, I would go out and have happy hour with the girls, and then when I was in my 30s, I brought it into the house and would have, use alcohol when I was tired, so I would, have a glass or 2 or 3 of wine, or if I wanted to connect with my husband, or if I wanted to do all of these things. So I wasn't allowing myself to feel the emotions, to sit with the emotion. I would cover it up with alcohol. So I would instant them. And I didn't know I was doing that. I thought I was relaxing. I thought that I was giving myself something that I deserved. Yeah. And until I really was able to take that time away from my last drink, was I able to really kind of open up to the fact that, I have these emotions and I haven't really sat with them for a really long time. And I tell you what, that first couple of months, I was more emotional than I think I was when I was like a teenager. I mean, it was just things were coming out that I hadn't really recognized or had known that was there.
Yeah, that's
identifying emotion.
Yeah. Oh, and what a great transition into my next question, because of your realization of what alcohol was doing to you and suppressing these emotions. Can you share with us how you help your clients find that alignment and more importantly, figure out their relationship with alcohol and what it's doing to them? So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I work with one-on-one clients, and I work in very small group 8-week courses where I feel like the women really can support one another and build community with that. But basically, we go through the work of identifying why we reach for the drink in the first place. And so we have to figure that out. And then what we do once we discover that is, what void are we trying to fill? So it's more than just not drinking. It's more of, okay, so now we're discovering that we have these emotions that maybe we haven't tapped into a little while. So what do we do with that? And the biggest piece is really asking women to follow their bliss, right? Yeah. Asking them to maybe say, like, what do I need to do for me right now? And now, what do I need to do for myself right now? And so, like, constantly asking that question throughout the day in transitions or when just sitting there. So really working on that piece. The biggest thing I try to work with clients with is helping them know that they have the answers, and we used to know how to self-soothe at some point in our lives. And so really helping them tap back into, what do you need? Because what you need is different from what somebody else does. True. So allowing them the space to really start listening to their inner guide again. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. So you're offering this 8-week program now, or is that forthcoming?
Actually, so I have one coming up on August 7th.
Oh, so that's around the corner.
Yeah.
Okay,
and I
very
have a couple
good.
spots left for that.
Okay, so small, intimate setting.
Very small, very intimate.
Providing a very safe space for them to go through this journey together with you as the mentor, as a coach, leading them through this new transformation or this new transition into hopefully transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. Because inevitably something else comes up, and then we work through that. And then being a physician assistant and working with individual patients for like thousands of patients over the last 9 to 10 years, it's really, I really have unique perspective into the body and what that and how we need to care for and nurture our bodies. So
wow,
yeah, it's amazing. It's I love it. I absolutely love it. So it's where I find my flow and my alignment.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
you do it wonderfully. I'm sure you're helping so many people do that while you're finding your alignment. And in turn, so many people are benefiting from this. So something I want, let me check in really quickly here in the group, because we're just chatting away. Gabriela's here. How are you? Good to see you. I am also seeing Eugene. How are you? Thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting.
Hi, guys.
So I'm with Camille, and she is a physician assistant, and she is also the founder of Think Beyond the Drink. And we're talking right now about how she helps her clients find alignment. So if you're watching this live, thank you. If you're watching this on replay, please comment below, give us some hearts, give us some likes. We appreciate that.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So when I heard your mission and what you were doing to help others find alignment, I had to really reflect on what that meant for me in leaving the alcohol and trying to not suppress these emotions that I had been suppressing for so long. Now I'm a social drinker, that is certain, and I've always used it for entertainment. I've always used it for engagement with others. But what's interesting is that I was raised by an alcoholic father. So I've seen the extreme of what alcoholism can do to a person. And so knowing my personality and knowing how far I could go myself, that's always something that I've been conscious of all of my life. Yeah. To the point where I married someone who is not a drinker. And being married to him now for 8 years, alcohol is not an issue like it used to be for me. Because I want to respect his space. I want to respect him while we're celebrating with friends or engaging with our families. I do that out of respect for my husband. And so it's been interesting how after meeting you and learning about what you do and reading your blogs and following you on all the social media platforms and your beautiful mission to help others, I'm now realizing I have been suppressing so many things. And I'm not saying to anyone that's out there, quit now. That's not what we're saying. Everyone has a different path and everyone has a different perspective on this and a different relationship with alcohol. And so for me, being a child of an alcoholic, I know the damage that comes with alcoholism. And so, it destroys the person and it destroys the families. And so it's something that I've been very hyper conscious of, because that's just my personality, is to take it to the extreme. So I always watch I always watch what I'm doing. And then now being married to someone who doesn't need the alcohol. For him, it's about being conscious, being aware, being in control, and being able to protect his family if something is to happen. And he's also a physician, so it's natural for him to be alert, and he's an emergency medicine physician. So for him, alcohol just has no place in his life because of his job. And so it's been easy for me to ease up on that because of him. So I appreciate the hearts. I'm seeing some likes. Thank you very much. So sorry, I wanted to kind of interject and share my personal story there.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. I think that our stories help other people so much more than we know. And absolutely, there are some people who actually, I have a dear friend of mine who drinks a couple of times a month, and she picks the wine that she knows the winemaker, and there's like this really nice, beautiful ritual with it, and she feels aligned when she has that glass of wine. It just works for her. Yeah, and then the biggest thing that I like to really bring out of people, the movement that I'm trying to create, is for us just to take that space to recognize what our relationship with alcohol is. And sometimes having a break for 90 days, 100 days is what we need in order to figure out if it's us that's talking or if it's the alcohol that's talking. And so what I recognized in my own personal life is that it was the alcohol that was talking and it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And so for me, that this has become my choice to not drink. Right. And I feel very fortunate that I do have that choice. Mm-hmm. And so I really want to capture the women, because I work with women. Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. But I, at this point, but I really want to have a space for women who are drinking that 2 to 3 glasses of wine at night, or that bottle of wine while they're watching Netflix, and they're like, "Oh, what just happened?" Or or the woman who goes out with her friends on the weekend and binge drinks. Really finding a space and a platform for them to have a voice and to talk about it, and not as this, where they feel like, where they know they have someplace to go, and they don't have to feel ashamed about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate your mission, and that's why I gravitated to you very quickly when I first met you, and I felt that this was something that I needed to reflect on and that I needed to really look deep into, and it was perfect timing because I had just returned from Israel, a trip to Israel with my husband, and alcohol is very free-flowing in that country. They love alcohol with wine and beautiful wine that's created there. And so I overindulged. And there was one night in particular that I think I had taken it too far. And for me, 2 glasses of wine gets me there because of the 8 years of being married to a non-drinker. So I kind of, lost that stamina or endurance or whatever. So I realized at that time, or I should say the morning after, that I didn't like who I was. I didn't like what I was saying. My husband was telling me how I behaved and how I was treating our friends and, the conversation I was having, and it was not in my character. And I was really embarrassed for myself and really upset that I embarrassed him. So, and that was just a trip in July. So shortly after that, I met you, and I had to really reflect on that. And so thank you for sharing your mission and your purpose with us.
Absolutely.
Can you please share with our members where we can find you, where we can find more information regarding your group coaching, and just how to stay in contact with you?
Yeah, I'd love to. So my program, or my website, is called thinkbeyondthedrink.com. My Instagram handle is thinkbeyondthedrink. And then on Facebook, you can just find me under Camille Kinzler, under my name.
Great.
So you can get to know a little bit more about, my family and more personal information.
Yeah, and you are in our group, so I'm
in your group. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. So any parting words you want to share with the group? Any words of wisdom? Something?
First of all, just really when you talked about that your values didn't match up to who you were the night that you were drinking, when you were reflecting on that, is so important. Yeah. And I feel like that's some of the work that we do that I do as well is having people really identify their values. We do it around work, we do it around these other things. But a lot of women wake up and say, hey, wow, like me drinking does not match any of my values. So really very interesting that you mentioned that. And I just love that you were so creative to share your story. It makes me so happy and excited when we do help each other through stories. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Camille. Thank you for being my second guest ever in our Align365 live show. And I hope to have some other wonderful thought leaders and those who are living their purpose come and share their mission with us and to help us find alignment together, because we are all in this together.
Yes.
Yes.
We are.
Yes. So you all please stay in contact with Camille. I would appreciate it. I'm sure she would too. If you need to reach out to her, please do so. She shared all of her contact information with you. And so for now, I will say goodbye to Camille and say goodbye to our group. And please drop a comment below if you're watching the replay. We'd love to still interact and engage with you even after we're done. So,
Absolutely.
yes. So thank you again, Camille. Have a great day.
Okay. Bye.
Take care.